3, AA 3, AAC 8, AAC 8, ADC 141, ADC 141, ADP 40, ADP 40, APC 16555, APC 16555, ABGA 19, ABGA 19, APM 02, APM 02, APP 01, APP 01, LP 06, LP 06, NNPP 0, NRM 02, NRM 02, PDP 4472, PDP 4472, PRP 0, PRP 0, SDP 04, SDP 04, YP 01, YP 01, YPP 0.
There's a strangeness, a very big strangeness in the results that are being read. Not necessarily because the results were rigged. No, there's a strangeness. You have a party like the Social Democratic Party, SDP, in Ondo State, with several thousand, about 4,000 polling units. And you have that kind of state having four, that kind of local government having 4 votes. What does that tell you? It means that even the party officials, the SDP party officials, did not vote for SDP. How many local governments are there in Ondo? How many local government? Okay, so there are 18 local government areas in Ondo State. 18 local government area in Ondo State. Let us see. How many wards do we have? Okay, so Nigeria has about 8,000 plus ward. Ondo is about, what I see here, there are 203 wards in Ondo, with a minimum of 10 wards and a maximum of 13 wards each. So, the polling units in Ondo, how many polling units in Ondo? How many polling units in Ondo? How many polling units in Ondo? 18 local governments. Okay. So they have about almost 4,000 polling units. Almost 4,000 polling units in Ondo. 4,000 polling units in Ondo. And in many of the polling units, result sheet shows that even for a party of the caliber of the Social Democratic Party, a party that on which platform a notable politician like MKO Abiola won elections in 1993, a party that produced a wonderful candidate in the person of Adewoye. Yeah, yes. That party in a Yoruba state like Ondo, you have polling units where they scored 0 votes, zero, meaning that either they didn't have polling units agents for those polling units, or that the polling unit agent did not vote for the SDP. The same thing for Labour Party, the same thing for other of the smaller political parties. What does this tell you? We're still joking about elections in Nigeria. Even the politicians who should know better, who should have put machinery or mechanisms in place to prevent rigging, they are not doing it. We're just 2 years away. 4 years has become 3 years. It is gradually becoming 2 years. Before we know it, 2027 will be here. I know that Nigerians are hungry and they are focused on what they will eat, how they will defeat hunger. I'm interested in that too. But because I also know that this is a deliberate weaponization of hunger and poverty, I am afraid we need to take a different approach. We can't continue like this. Yes, INEC will rig. Yes, APC will rig. Yes, Tinubu will rig. Yes, security agencies will compromise and support rigging. Yes, judiciary will do its own part, but the truth must be told. We cannot just hold our hands in the air. We cannot just hold our hands in the air and say, all hope is lost. All hope is not lost. We can checkmate INEC, thugs, judiciary, security agencies. We can checkmate all of them. And we don't even need to be violent about it. All we need to do is use our brains. We don't even have to be violent about it. We can put all of them in check. We just have to start. And the only way to do that is to solve the food problems for people. People are hungry. Solve the hunger problem for people. Solve the poverty problem for people. Is it possible for Nigeria to give every single individual free food in Nigeria? Of course. It is. Many people will argue that it will lead to inflation. No, it will not lead to inflation. If our strategy that we are proposing is adopted, because we are linking social welfare, the food and social welfare support, we're linking it with agricultural production. We're linking it. And all of these are homegrown solutions. That's what we're doing. We need your support to do this. If you don't support it, Tinubu wins. If you don't support it, The IMF and the World Bank, they win. We cannot continue fighting amongst ourselves and then hope that somehow we will win. No, we cannot continue fighting amongst ourselves and then blame the riggers of election for rigging. Every rigger of election will continue to rig election until they see that they can no longer rig elections. So this attitude that we are always carrying by way of we just wait until election day. 70% of the voters will not come out, they will sit at home. Less than 30% of the voters will come out, and then those who are rigging will find it easy to rig because of voter apathy. Then when they finish rigging, the remaining 70% will now start complaining they rigged. You made it easy for them to rig. We can't just sit down and be crying, they rig, they rig, they rig. What are we doing to stop them from rigging? What are we doing? And I hope we don't think that the way to stop them from rigging is to engage in campaign of vilification, campaign of smear, campaign of defamation, campaign of... Those will not work. They can be a starting point, particularly campaign of vilification, exposing the wickedness of these corrupt politicians. Yes, expose it. But campaign of vilification alone is a 17th century solution, 18th or 19th century solution. It will not work in 2024. It will not work in the 21st century. We saw how it failed against Donald Trump in America. So it doesn't even matter, because in 2015, it worked. Not necessarily because APC used it alone. They used all these campaigns in 2015. But what helped them to win was the backing of the Obama-led US administration, because you had a Jonathan who was not willing to give in to their gay or LGBTQ demands. So let's not make a mistake to think that it was only the smear campaign or the campaign of vilification against Jonathan that made it possible for APC to defeat him in 2020, in 2015. It was not. It didn't work then. It didn't work against Trump with all the billions of dollars that Kamala Harris got, and all the high-profile celebrities, the high-profile politicians, the Obamas, the Clintons, they were all behind him. The military, industrial, media complex were all behind Kamala Harris, engaging in this campaign of vilification, calling him Hitler, Nazi, fascist, and all that, misogynist, somebody who didn't respect women. They engaged in full-fledged campaign of vilification against Trump. It didn't work. We engaged in full-fledged campaign of vilification against Tinubu in 2023. Did it work? Don't just say the elections were rigged. When we engage to stop election rigging, we must engage with a mindset that we don't allow people who rig to get into office. That is why we must go beyond just campaign of vilification or campaign of smear or campaign of calumny or campaign of defamation. We must go beyond it. We must put something else on top. And it cannot even be campaign of issues. No, you must add campaign of solutions, because Nigerians are hungry. They want solutions. They want solutions. So the voter apathy that we are experiencing in Ondo again, that we experienced in Edo, that we experienced in our previous election, is a big problem. And the only way we can solve the voter apathy problem is not so much with voter education, but a campaign of solution. How do we get or help people to solve their food problem? How do we get them food? We can get them food. Nigeria can take care of all her citizens. 200 million plus, yes. America is doing it. Why can't we? We can. And we don't even need to borrow to achieve it, because many people often raise concerns and say, where would we get the money from? Listen to the idea first. Interrogate the idea. Go through the draft bill. Then you will see that we will not have a problem with funding this solution. All we need is for you to queue behind it. And the reason we need you to queue behind it is simple. These politicians are only interested in numbers. That is why you see them going and flocking to celebrities, because they feel that the celebrities have the attention of a good number of people. So if we're going to solve this problem of food and poverty and hunger for Nigerians, we must make the politicians see that the vast majority of the people are in support of this solution. And that is why you must support it, starting with liking and sharing and commenting and talking to people of it. Take the video, repurpose it, share the solution, talk about it, discuss it. Let's stop, because everywhere, all the platform, across YouTube, across TikTok, what I see people do is engage in a campaign of vilification of Tinubu in the name of holding Tinubu accountable. That campaign of vilification alone will not work. In fact, it is counterproductive, because the more we engage in this campaign of vilification against Tinubu, what are we doing? We are giving Tinubu more oxygen. We are making the citizens more despondent. Yes, we make them give up. We make them see Tinubu as undefeatable. That's what our campaign of vilification against Tinubu does to the average Nigerians. So we must go beyond that. We must add on top of that, in fact, 10 times on top of that, a campaign of solution, not just even issues. What are the solutions? The solution starts from, number one, solving the food problem and the hunger problem of the people. Once we solve the food and the hunger problem of the people, then we can now proceed to solve the leadership problem. And that can only happen by democratizing the political space, removing nomination fees, removing indirect primaries or consensus primaries, removing it, entrenching ideologies, buy made in Nigeria, banning medical and educational tourism for government workers. All of these ideologies, they are the things that will open up the space, the political space. But it starts with you. It starts with you. Where is your attention? We need to look beyond the football now, look beyond the movies, look beyond the entertainment. All of these are just now tools to keep you distracted and divided, while they focus on rigging elections to force themselves in power. That's what they're doing. So the Edo and the Ondo elections now are a wake-up call for us to rally together. We cannot continue working against ourselves. We cannot. The more a very dark man fights a Falano, the more a Sheun Kuti fights an Aisha Yusufu, the more obedience fights people like Kenneth Okonkwo, the more Showore and Deji Adeyanju team up together to fight Peter Obi. We are dividing ourselves against ourselves. And the only people that win is Tinubu and his cronies. The more we engage in intertribal rivalry, coming online to abuse certain tribes, engaging in tribal bigotry, the more we do that, we are working for Tinubu, because it is Tinubu that wins. No platform that engages in tribal bigotry, intertribal rivalry, can guarantee victory for any single tribe. There's nowhere, because we make a mistake of thinking that, oh, we are engaging in conversations. No, we're driving the dagger of bitterness deeper into the hearts of Nigerians by engaging in such tribal bigotry. And the effect is there are no winners, there are no vanquished amongst the people. But you have a winner in Tinubu and a loser in the people. We must rise above this. We must begin to queue behind solution. And that solution, I can't mention it enough, is to solve the food problem and the hunger problem for people. And that's what the Food and Social Welfare Bill seeks to do. Ondo Election gives us an opportunity again to queue behind this solution. And we appeal to you to do it. Help us save Nigeria.